Good morning and happy Monday. Welcome back to the Daily Grind. I'm your host, Chump Change. This is live and recorded. For those of you that might be new here, what we typically do is go over crypto news or news in general in the space. I update myself and I bring you guys along for the ride. Let's see who's in the house. Then we'll get into this. Mr. All Set feels like he never sleeps. Join the club, buddy. Me neither. Mike the Miner, good to see you. Good morning, All Set, by the way. Little Time Mining, good to see you, buddy. Leo Lustig, good morning. Carl Coate, Andrew Masad. We have I'm gonna call you Organ. I don't know how you want me to say that. Organimo. I'm sorry, I totally butchered that. Good to see you though. Good morning. Let's see. Scrolling up. Give me 1 second. Someone in the chat. Good morning, sir. We have Son of a Rabbit, K Hashaholic, Black Hat Team, Kyle Rosa. Good morning, sir. Nick K, Savage White. Everybody else I may have missed. I apologize. Let's get into this. Started a bit late. Bitcoin $69,000 and $69,028. Pretty awesome. We got Ethereum at 2477. Ethereum has been really underperforming, but overall, at least it's holding. It's over 2K. It's almost 2,500 bucks. Is what it is. Solana $164. We get XRP at 51 cents. Let's see. LTC is at $67. We get Caspa under 11 cents at 10.7. We have Dogecoin up 6% just about today to about 16 cents. It's 15.8. Looking pretty good. Let's see. Nothing else really jumping out at me. The CRE token's down about 8%, 25 cents over there. Render is at $4.46. Yeah, nothing else really like crazy today. I think it's going to be the calm before the storm. Tomorrow's going to be kind of exciting. Tomorrow is election day and we're going to have to see what happens. But yeah, as of right now, everything's just kind of floating along from where it was last week. All right, biggest earner of the day seems to be Dogecoin, 5.7% on the day. Again, just about 16 cents, 15.86. Biggest loser of the day is Popcat, 8.5% down, $1.27. Nice. Ape is down 7.6% as well. We have Rune down 5%. Let's see. Caspa down 2.1, again under 11 cents. Yeah, nothing's really concerning though. I mean, meme coins are going to jump around. It's just how it is, right? And you know, everything kind of follows Bitcoin, so this is what it is. All right, flashbang. Fear and Greed Index looking like a 70. This is, in my eyes, perfect. I want to have this needle under the 75 mark. Let me just refresh, make sure. Yeah, all right, it's at 70. So again, we went to extreme greed last week and things kind of leveling off. I like to see under 75 and obviously above 25 for a decent ride up. We're gonna have a nice climb as long as this needle's kind of only in the greed and not in the extremely greedy, you know what I mean, if that makes sense. All right, let's move on to CoinGecko over here. Top 10 coins by coin market cap, starting with Bitcoin at a $1.36 trillion market cap. We got Ethereum, Tether, BNB, Solana, USDC, XRP, Lado staked Ether, Dogecoin, and Tron in 10th place at a $14 billion market cap. Cardano is still in 12th place. Actually, didn't Cardano get into 11th last week? I'm pretty sure it did. It's at $11.9 billion market cap as of right now. Having a bit of a pullback, just under Toncoin over here at a 12.3. Not too bad. Shiba's been actually holding in the top 20 forever. Does anybody still have Shiba Inu? I still do personally. I got mine in Coinbase. It's just chilling there. It's been chilling there forever. I have so much of it. It's just ridiculous. But I want to get rid of it. What the hell? It needs to move. It's been up here though. I mean, it's been holding its own forever. And I'm kind of shocked. The community must still be strong. I don't know. You voted Nismo Miner. Nice, dude. Good for you, man. Good for you.
Eat shit, Gary.
We're gonna get into news stuff in a minute. I know I'm sorry. It's gonna be a little bit of a political news shit. It's what else do you want? There's nothing else going on besides that stuff and a little bit of crypto stuff, but that's about it. Litecoin over here in 24th place. We got a actually just a $5 billion market cap, almost even. At $67. Near Protocol should do pretty well this run at $3.69. A $4.4 billion market cap, almost 4.5. BitTensor could be another good buy, $431 right now. It's been running down, so you guys might have a good opportunity by BitTensor over here, or Teo. Again, 32nd place, $3.1 billion market cap. Caspa, I think it's a steal right now, $2.7 billion market cap. This has been up to a 4.2, and once confidence comes back into this, see ya, this thing's gonna explode. That's just my opinion. It's a layer one. It's literally just cutting edge technology with payment systems, so I think it's gonna do freaking fantastic. But you guys do what you want. Don't take financial advice from people on YouTube. That would be your first mistake. All right, jump over to the mining segment of things. I want to see what these miners look like today. I haven't looked at YouTube at all this weekend. We have Bitmain Antminer L9 over here, 17 gigahash unit, making $24 a day in first place. Look at that, 24.58 to be exact. We got the Volk miner D1. Not sure. Oh, we clicked on this last week. That's right, we looked at this last week. What was this? What unit was this? Someone, what's it called? King said this looked like a different unit. It looked like it was a knockoff of some other unit, and they just kind of put their sticker on the side of it. Was it Ivy Link maybe? I'm not sure. But anyways, that's in second place. The same thing as the L7, the L9 Bitmain Antminer L9, but it's way worse watts, 3,900 watts. So I would never, don't buy this. I don't know what this company is doing, but that's fucking awful. That's terrible efficiency. We have the L9 16 gigahash unit over here, making 23.13 a day. The AL1 Pro actually is in third place, making 23.76. How's lithium doing today? I haven't looked at that at all. A lithium 1.18% down, still $1.17. Could be worse. Could be worse. It's kind of floating sideways. Not doing too bad, to be honest. I mean, it's already had its worst moments, so I guess everything will tell after this election. We're gonna see what the hell happens to crypto, because it could be a complete shit show, or it could be good for everything. We got the Antminer AL1 15.6 terahash unit, making $22.31 a day. Nice. The Jazz Miner X44P. What in the hell is this? What's the X44P? $15,000.
You are a loser. You always lose.
I didn't mean to hit that one. I didn't mean to hit that one either. Bruh. I didn't hit that one. Oh, it's a rough morning. This is there is no goat here though, by the way, unfortunately. Stopped coming in. This is crazy though. $15,000. What the hell? The hell's going on here? I never seen that one. X44P. That must be new on the list. It's either that or I missed it last week. But 23.4 gigahashes at 25.50 for watts, $21 a day. Doing ETC or mining ETC. Interesting. Again, ETC's at 17.88. I think this is gonna do good in the bull run when things start taking off. Typically, Ethereum Classic does run, and it is 90, just about 90% down, 89.3% down from its all-time high at $167. You can make a fucking killing on ETC as long as the freaking as long as it runs with everything else. But I guess we're gonna have to see what happens there. The Ice River AL3 15 terahash unit over here, making 21.16 a day. Let's check out the L7. You guys know I got this thing down at Terra Hosting. Shout out to them if you're interested in hosting. Links in the description. The 9050, this is what I got. 3-year-old L7 is making $9.43 a day. That's amazing. Perfect. That is amazing. What in the hell is a bit deer? What is a bit deer seal miner A2 hydro? What the fuck? What is that name? What is that? 446 terahashes at 7,000 watts. Holy shit. I just realized 73.60 for wattage, $4.89. That's crazy. The Ice River AL2 Lite 2 terahash unit, making $2.74. Where is the K? What is it? The K something? I could just look. Oh, here it is. KS2 Lite. KS2 Lite. This thing is, oh my god, 2 terahash unit at 500 watts. This thing's losing 15 cents a day. I do have to do a video on it though. I have it next to me. It just got delivered on Saturday. Oh, sorry, Friday. And I haven't had a chance to record, but that's disappointing. I kind of don't want to do it now. All right, moving on. GPUs, let's see. Aleo, top of the charts over here. Let's check Aleo. Aleo, 85.85% down, $1.25. Been selling off a bit. Could be worse though. Got a $291 million market cap. Interesting. I got free power over here. I need me a little home miner. TJ, damn it. Why do you have to be so far away? Because that is a sick unit. It's definitely a sick unit. For 500 watts, for what it is, 500 watts, 2 terahashes. What the KS Zero Ultra actually, what is that? Let's see. 400 gigahashes at 100 watts. So it's just as efficient as that. It's the same thing. It's 5 of these in a box. I might have to open it and see now. That's 5 KS0 Ultras in a box. That's what it is. So the KS2 Lite is equivalent. Interesting. All right, that's it though. Oleo, Zealous, maybe if you want to mine that. A little bit of Chlor, Conflux, and why is Pyron still here? It's crazy. Is Pyron still alive? What is going on with that coin? Didn't it get rugged? 25% down. Yeah, this shit got rugged hard. Oh my god, how unfortunate. Man, people are so greedy. They don't care about nothing no more. That's it. Oh well, this is what it is. All right, moving on to the news segment of things. This was 20 hours ago. Gold with wings. Could Bitcoin become the savings account of the new generation? Let's see what they got to say over here on Fox Business. Guys, that like button. Appreciate you for hanging out. Let's do it.
Over an hour into the Monday trading session, and the Dow is up 300, Nasdaq's up 150 points. That's a rally. Goldman Sachs, Home Depot, McDonald's, 3M, Salesforce, they're all Dow stocks. All of them are up, and together they add 170 points to the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Next case. Microsoft is reportedly considering investing in Bitcoin. Anthony Pompliano joins me now. Why does Microsoft need Bitcoin?
Well, if you think about corporations, they're just a collection of individuals, and individuals in this country who hold cash are going to lose. We live in a society where the dollar continues to lose purchasing power. In my lifetime, over the last 30 years, the dollar's lost 50% of its purchasing power. So $1 30 years ago can only buy you 50 cents of goods today. Well, corporations are no different. And so what a lot of people see is that they believe that they are being safe by putting their money in dollars. But if I told you that there was an asset that's guaranteed to lose value, would you go put all of your balance sheet in that asset? Probably not. And so that's what people are saying.
You can't guarantee that Bitcoin gains value. You can't guarantee that.
You can't guarantee that it's going to gain value, but what you can guarantee is the dollar's going to lose value, and all assets priced in dollars are going to continue to go up over a long period of time, whether that's real estate.
Oh, that was a good point. That was a good point he made. You can't guarantee Bitcoin's going to go up, but you can guarantee the dollar is going to go down.
Stocks, Bitcoin, or other commodities.
Bitcoin has doubled the return of gold in this calendar year. How did that happen?
Well, if you look at gold and the S&P 500 over the last 5 years, the compound annual growth rate is about the same. Gold's up 13%, and the S&P is up 14%. Bitcoin has destroyed that. And so I like to say that Bitcoin is gold with wings. Bitcoin and gold both go up for the same reason. They're debasing the dollar, but Bitcoin is much more sensitive. It's an earlier asset that the world is trying to price in. What's very unique about Bitcoin is that it's a bottoms-up story. Most technology goes top-down. Militaries and governments, they adopt it first, then corporations, and then finally individuals. They get a smartphone or they get a computer on their desk. They're the last ones. Bitcoin was the opposite. The individuals got it first. Now we're seeing corporations and financial institutions like BlackRock and Fidelity start to adopt this. Eventually, it's going to be central banks, and it is going to be governments. Central banks today own 12% of the global gold supply. I believe that they will eventually start to buy Bitcoin. That'd be very bullish for the price of Bitcoin.
Is Bitcoin a safe haven?
Bitcoin is.
Wait one second. You don't talk about cryptos in general. You just focus on Bitcoin, right?
I think that Bitcoin is not only the asset that has the most regulatory clarity, it is the asset that's been around the longest. It's the largest one, and it's the one that most people have the most confidence in that it's going to be here in 20 years.
Show me with numbers that Bitcoin is the savings account of the new generation.
If you think of the traditional financial system, you have a checking account, you got a savings account. That checking account is being replaced by stable coins. It's just dollars in a digital rail. Bitcoin is becoming that savings account. And the beauty of a savings account is you put your money there and you don't move it. So if you go and you look on chain, you can see that more than 1 out of every 2 Bitcoin has not moved in the last 2 years, and 2 out of every 3 Bitcoin has not moved in the last 12 months, even though Bitcoin's price has tripled during that time period.
Clearly, a
Look at these tabs that come up. That's funny.
Bitcoin supporter, Andy Pompliano, are you not?
I think that Bitcoin is good for everybody.
Good to have you on the show.
Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you.
That's great. That's great. All right, moving on. Let's see. All right, now it's going to be political BS, and I apologize. But these questions remain unanswered hours before the election day. I have no idea what's going on in life, but this is the only channel that I could find that had news of today or within the last 24 hours. So we're going to have to see what's going on.
This is their MO. This is how they operate. We've seen it with Swalwell. You know, they take these women, they come.
Examining Waltz's extensive history with China. What the fuck's that have to do with anything?
Compromise candidates.
I guess,
what they've been doing lately, Maria, is trying to get state and locals. So this makes perfect sense that they would go after a state governor, in this case Minnesota, who has become the VP nominee. I find this really disturbing.
And that is the House Foreign Affairs Committee Chairman Michael McCall with me on Mornings with Maria this week on reports that Minnesota Governor Tim Walz had a secret romantic relationship with the daughter of a Chinese Communist Party official, beginning in 1989 until it ended in 1992. The woman has spoken out about the relationship. Now, a whistleblower has come forward to the House Oversight Committee with internal communications from within the Homeland Security Office, where a DHS official expresses concern about Walz's history with China, warning that Beijing could target him to exert influence on U.S. policy toward the CCP. Joining me now with the very latest on his investigation into Walz's ties to Communist China is the chairman of the House Oversight Committee, James Comer.
Nismo, that's a riot in the chat. That's so funny.
Mr. Chairman, thanks very much for being here this morning. We so appreciate it.
Good morning, Maria.
Tell us what your investigation is zeroing in on.
Well, we had a whistleblower with the Department of Homeland Security come forward and tell us that the Department of Homeland Security had been monitoring Tim Walz for many years, way prior to Kamala Harris choosing him to be her running mate. They were concerned about the sheer number of times that Walz had been to China. They were concerned about who was actually paying for all those trips to China, considering that if you look at Walz's financial disclosure form, and I believe it to be accurate, he really doesn't have the means to pay for that many trips to China. And they were concerned as why is he going to China so many times? Because all the things that all the boxes are checked with Tim Walz that the Department of Homeland Security and our intelligence community look for in a potential American official or their family member being groomed or being influenced by the Chinese Communist Party.
So do you think that the CCP targeted Walz years ago, and do you believe that the CCP paid for all of those trips? And we're talking about between, 15 and 30 trips to China, which he has admitted that he's gone back and forth when he was teaching there. Did the CCP pay for those trips?
Well, Walz said he went to China at least 30 times. Of course, he lied about being in China during the Tiananmen Square massacre. So if you take Walz at his word that he's been there at least 30 times, that's a lot of money. I don't know who paid for the trips. And it's very frustrating to me that no one in the corporate media, the mainstream media, ever asked Tim Walz that question. When he was asked about China in one interview, he clammed up and he changed the subject. He didn't answer the question. There are a lot of questions with China. Look, China's our biggest adversary. You know this. You know they manipulate the currency. You know they take American jobs. They use slave labor. They steal our patents. But to have an American official that could be a heartbeat away from the presidency spend that much time in China and speak favorably about China's business model and how they've taken people out of poverty. I mean, every American citizen should be concerned. And here we are 48 hours before Election Day, and there are so many questions about Tim Walz and his relationship with the Chinese Communist Party that are unanswered.
Didn't they say this was back in the relationship was back in 92? Isn't that fucking 25 years ago? 27 years ago, something? That's crazy. What? I'm so confused. Is he still talking to people in China, or was that way back then?
This relationship with the daughter of a CCP official, I guess she has spoken out, and there were some questions about whether or not they were together so that she could get a visa, or whether they were in love, or what the story was. But interesting report that he was actually a woman who was the daughter of a CCP official.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that relationship other than what's been reported, but I do know this. The Department of Homeland Security was very concerned about Tim Walz long before Kamala Harris chose him to be her running mate. We need to know why the Department of Homeland Security was concerned about Tim Walz. Was it this relationship? Was it who was financing his trips? Was it things that he had said favorably about the Chinese Communist Party? These are questions that remain unanswered 48 hours before the election. We know that there are documents, classified and unclassified, that the Department of Homeland Security has, according to the whistleblower, pertaining to concerns about Tim Walz. We've asked for these documents, and thus far, the Department of Homeland Security, under Mayorkas, has refused to comply with our request.
Well, you've already impeached Mayorkas, and we know that he also sits atop the Secret Service as well as the wide open border. Is there anything else you can do about it to hold Alejandro Mayorkas to account?
The only way people are going to be held accountable for all the bad behavior, for all the cover-ups, for all the obstruction in the Biden-Harris administration is for people to go out on Tuesday and vote for Donald Trump so that we can drain the swamp and that we can put good people in office that will abide by the Constitution and hold people accountable for wrongdoing.
So I was super confused, but yeah, I guess if it's still a concern for Homeland Security or whatever it was, then yeah, whatever. I get it. All right, let's see what this is about. Yeah, I don't know. This is about jobs reports. Let's do it.
Former President Trump making Friday's dismal jobs report a part of his closing message to voters.
Kamala's economy is like in a depression. The worst numbers I've ever seen, the worst numbers in many, many, many years. I stand before you today as the only candidate who can rescue our economy.
Here to discuss is Sunday Morning Futures anchor Maria Bartiromo. Good morning to you, Maria.
Here again.
Hi, Ainsley. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing well. Thanks for coming on this morning with us. So I was talking to Lee Carter. You know Lee. She owns Ms. Lansky and Associates, and she's a dial. She looks at the dials to see what resonates with the voter. And that message of the economy, we are better off under Trump than we were under Kamala, that seems to do really well as a message.
Yeah, and it is a message that really resonates with people because it's real. I mean, we saw the jobs numbers coming out on Friday where only 12,000 jobs were created in the month of October versus an expectation of more than 100,000 jobs. Now, the issue here, of course, was to do with strikes and storms. We had Hurricane Helene. We had lots of worries over storms during the month. And, of course, we've got that Boeing strike underway as well. So there were some outside forces with the October numbers. But nonetheless, you're still looking at a jobs market that is slowing. And as the issue of the economy is really high up for voters. That's why President Trump is leaning on that. We all remember when President Trump was running things, we did have very strong growth. We had job creation. We didn't have the kind of inflation that we're talking about today. And when you look at jobs and growth, that's one part of the conversation. But the voters really are focused in on the fact that everything is more expensive. Yes. And when you look at inflation, even though it's come off of the highs, it's still not where the Federal Reserve wants it to be. And you're still talking about prices for just about everything being up 20% under Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. And that is why President Trump is talking about it so much. And you know what, Ainsley, there is a certain sophistication about the economy that comes through when President Trump talks about it, when he's talking about his efforts to no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, extending the tax cuts, cutting into and tapping into America's potential energy capacity is also something that he's articulated very well. Kamala Harris simply just has not articulated that kind of sophistication or understanding of the economy. And I think that comes through.
Yeah, I think people are going to really I think the people that I've talked to, they're voting for Donald Trump. They just feel like that's the most important thing for them. That and the border, immigration and prices
for sure
of the groceries. All right, you have a special edition of Sunday Morning Futures. It's going to be on Fox Business today. Who's going to be on your show?
That's right.
I don't care. I don't care who's going to be in your show. All right. Is Kamala Harris lying to the people of Pennsylvania? What is this one about? Let's see what's going on over here.
Well, President Trump turned Harris's week of slurs into campaign gold, showing up in a garbage.
This is always this girl, Maria, on Fox Business.
truck in response to Biden's attack on Trump supporters, saying this, 250 million Americans are not garbage, and you cannot be president if you hate the American people.
This was the ultimate troll, though. Him being in the garbage
said
truck.
President Trump. Republicans are hoping for a sweep, seeking to control both chambers of Congress for the first time since January of 2019. President Trump's first 2 years in the Oval Office, with the state of Texas becoming among the most hotly contested, where Republican Senator Ted Cruz is defending his seat against Democrat Congressman Colin Allred. Despite the major setback Republicans would suffer in their bid for control of the Senate should Cruz lose his seat, Cruz says he has not received any support from the Senate Leadership Fund, which is aligned with and likely controlled by outgoing Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell. Joining me now with more in the Sunday Morning Futures exclusive is the man himself, Texas Senator Ted Cruz. Senator, good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. Confirm that. Have you gotten no money from Mitch McConnell and his super PAC?
Well, good morning, Maria. No, not a penny. We are on our own, and we are in the middle of the single most expensive Senate race in the entire country. Chuck Schumer has been explicit. I'm his #1 target. And Chuck Schumer and George Soros, they are spending more than $100 million trying to beat me. We have seen more than a dozen polls in the last month that show this as a 1-point race or a 2-point race or a 3-point race. And the Washington swamp doesn't support me. And so what I'm supported by is millions of patriots across Texas, across the country, who go to our website, tedcruz.org, and who make contributions of $10, $25, $50, $100. That's how we're fighting back against Chuck Schumer and George Soros' wave of cash. So I would encourage your viewers, please, we're 2 days away. Please go to tedcruz.org right now and give what you can so we can.
I can't do this. I can't do this. Who's gonna sit there and fucking ask for money? Dude, this motherfucker, is she gonna be on every goddamn news thing on Fox? No, she's not in this one. All right. This is what will happen to the U.S. economy if Harris wins. Let's see what's said over here. Apparently she's going to be on this one again too.
Welcome back. New poll showing a neck-and-neck race between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. A Reuters Ipsos poll shows a 1-point difference with Harris in the lead, 47-46. When asked about who has a better approach on the economy and jobs, voters trust Trump over Harris, 47-37%. Christophe Barraud, a.k.a. the world's most accurate economist, predicting Trump will be the victor come Election Day and that Republicans will sweep the Congress. The New York Post also reporting strategic CEO and Chairman Jason Trennert could be up for a major role in the Trump administration. administration, possibly as head of the National Economic Council. The New York Post is owned by Fox News Media. Joining us now is the man himself, Chairman and CEO of Strategis and Trump donor Jason Trennert. Strategis is a Baird company. Jason, great to see you.
Great to be here.
Thanks so much for being here. Are you expecting to be part of the Trump administration?
Well, listen, the main thing is he has to win first. That's my only political ambition now, is to get President Trump to help him in some way on Tuesday, and then we'll see. And if it happens, if I'm fortunate to be asked, it would be an honor to serve, obviously. So.
Well, Jason, you've done such an incredible job, your firm, in terms of the research on where we are. And I always come back to the issue of inflation. So I want to get your take on what you believe to be the most important policy changes that need to be made. Well, let's say you were to be part of the administration. Where would your focus be?
Well, listen, I think there's only one party that's actually talking about cutting spending. There's only one candidate that's talking about cutting government spending, and that's Donald Trump and the Republicans. Everyone else is talking about how they can maybe give stuff away to other people. And I would say, on the Republican side too, people do that. But there's only one person. There's only one person that's actually saying we're spending well beyond our means. And I would start with that. And that's why I think Elon Musk's potential role in an administration is very exciting. I think that would also give the administration, the new administration, Trump administration, a lot of credibility with the bond market, because people would say, listen, okay, we're going to try to grow our way out of this by keeping taxes low, but we're also going to get something on the other side, which is to say we're going to actually stop this gravy train that we see in Washington, in which we're running budget deficits that are $2 trillion a year, 7% of GDP, even when we're nowhere near a recession right now for wealthy people, and even when we're not in war. That's never happened before.
Yeah, and Mark Tepper, I have a feeling if Kamala Harris were to win, the spending ramps up, because she's going to want to continue focused on that climate change agenda. That's where a lot of the spending was.
Yeah, and it's reckless spending too. I mean, $7.5 billion for what, 7 or 8 charging stations, so the spending doesn't even add up. But
speaking of reckless spending, do you see how many fucking celebrities they tried to pay off to say, like, vote for Kamala? It's like insane. They had like all the Avengers together and shit. Like, how much money did they spend on people saying, I want to vote for her? Like, I don't understand. It's crazy. And then when the teleprompter cut out, did you guys see that teleprompter cut out on Cardi B or something, when she was up there at the stands and she had no idea what to do with herself? It was like the most ridiculous thing ever.
You raised a good point about budget deficits, and I believe we have not run a budget surplus since 2001, I believe. So it has been Republican presidents, Democratic presidents, so it is both parties. Do you believe that a budget surplus is something we can realize again in the near future?
No, to be very candid, but I do think you could get, my friend Scott Bessent believes you could get the deficit as a percentage of GDP down to 3%, let's say at the end of President Trump's term. That's very reasonable. That's very reasonable in comparison to our trading partners. So it's going to take a long time when you're starting at 7% of GDP, $2 trillion a year. It's tough to do that without causing undue pain. But we can at least stop the bleeding. We can at least get things a little bit more reasonable. We can start funding ourselves in a way that is more forward-looking, as opposed to right now, 50% of our debt matures in the next 3 years. We have massive long-term liabilities, and we're funding everything short-term. That's a very Lehman Brothers way of funding yourself. It's very risky. Now, even though we're with the reserve currency, we can get away with it. It's part of the reason why gold is going up, in my opinion, so high. It's part of the reason why the purchasing power of the dollar has declined so meaningfully.
Yeah, it's a great point. And President Trump has also said that one of his priorities is to tap into the capacity of energy in this country. And if you put more oil in the global market, you push prices lower, and that also reins in inflation.
Our strategic petroleum reserve right now in this country is the lowest it's been since 1983. So more than 40 years, and it makes no sense given what's happening in the world. Now, of course, we're sitting on a massive reserve of oil in this country, but we're not taking advantage of it in this administration. It makes no sense. We're the first country, perhaps, in the history of the planet, of human beings, that is not taking full advantage of its own natural resources. You know, until 1945, countries would go to war with one another over natural resources. Here, we're ignoring them and letting other countries that might not have our best interests at heart dictate how we run our economy. It makes no sense.
New Fox News polls show voters in swing states, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Michigan, say they're falling behind financially, Jason. They still trust Trump more in the economy, although Harris is gaining ground on Trump's advantage. In North Carolina, voters trust Trump more in the economy, 53% to 47%. That's down from a 7-point lead last month and a 9-point lead in August. In Pennsylvania, a more narrow race on the economy as voters trust Trump more, 51% to Harris's 47%. That's down from an 8-point lead last month. And then in Michigan, voters say they trust Trump more in the economy, 50% to 48%. Earlier this year, Trump was up by 11 points in that poll. So tell me about the election 5 days away and how you see it. Which battleground states are you focused on?
Well, listen, I think a lot of it comes down to Pennsylvania. I'm hardly a political expert. I'm going to Pennsylvania right after the show. Everyone I know that is pulling for President Trump, a lot of us are going to Pennsylvania to try to get out. If they're sending me, clearly it's an important, like they're reaching the bottom of the barrel here, to get people out there. Every vote counts.
Well, it's like 19, right? Electoral vote.
Right. So, and it's critical. And I think if President Trump wins Pennsylvania, he wins. And so, to me, that's the most important one. Of course, Wisconsin's important. President Trump was there yesterday, but it's that blue wall. I think if we can maintain that, but I'm very confident that blue wall is going to pull for Donald Trump, and that's because, as we've discussed before, we have this common man CPI, which basically tells you that for the average person that doesn't have, let's say, a private equity portfolio, might just have savings, they've fallen behind. Their standard of living has deteriorated meaningfully over the past 4 years, and so people feel that. And again, if you're relatively wealthy, maybe you don't see it as much, but if you're just a regular person, it's clear as day. And I think those states are going to move towards President Trump.
Yeah, we're looking at America's standard of living and your latest CPI. You looked at changes in the standard of living for Americans, comparing Trump's first 44 months in office to Biden-Harris's. You're warning of a second wave of inflation in 2025 unless Trump gets back into office. Tell us about that. You've said on this program many times that when you see an inflation spike of above 6%,
that's right,
that you typically get another one.
Yeah, historically, regardless of who's president, historically, once you have one wave of inflation over 6%, the chances of getting another wave is about 9 in 10. And it's partly because there's pent-up demand for wages, so you're seeing that with some of the unions, but it's also because usually central banks don't want to take the punch bowl away. It's not popular. And then also you usually get into that problem like we did in the 70s by spending more money than you have. So in the 70s you had the Vietnam War, you had a Great Society, and you never mended your ways in terms of spending until it was too late, until Volcker had to slam on the brakes, and then everyone experienced a gut-wrenching recession. What we're hoping now is that you take preventative measures to stop the spending, because I believe, as Elon Musk said on Sunday, and Milton Friedman said before him very famously, inflation is an export of Washington, D.C. It all stems from too much spending and too much money in the economy that is not productive.
All right, we will be watching all that.
Interesting. All right. Last but not least, Minnesota bakery uses cookies to poll presidential election. I just thought this was funny, so let's see what this is about.
One bakery in Minnesota getting a lot of attention for using cookies to predict the presidential election.
That's freaking genius, though. That's genius to make money.
Bill Hanisch is the owner of Hanisch Bakery. It's a famous spot, apparently. It's in Red Wing, Minnesota. And he joins me now. What's the current count? Trump cookies versus Harris cookies?
The Trump cookies are currently at 7,099, and the Harris cookies are at 3,436.
Well, that predicts, I guess, if you're predicting the election, that means funny. Trump's going to win. You've been doing this since 1984. How accurate is your cookie count?
Oh, that's so funny.
It has been, it goes right with the popular vote every year up.
But is he eating the Trump ones? Let's be real.
Until 2020, and that was the only time that has not followed the popular vote.
So this time you think Trump's going to win?
I don't really know.
This dude's like, I'm not trying to get canceled.
I thought he was going to win in 2020, and there was other factors.
Oh, what the hell? Look, they got the weak totals. That's funny as hell.
That may have stepped in, but according to the cookie poll, he won by a very wide margin.
Dude, that's a lot of work, man. Who the hell sits there and makes all them cookies? That's a shit ton.
Are you getting some backlash because you're online? And I think some of your customers are saying, hey, you're just a Republican bakery. Can't have that.
Yeah. I'm more concerned about sports than I am about politics. This is a great tradition we've done here at the bakery, and they can label me however they would like.
Oh, they always do it?
I'm just here making cookies. Funny. That's all we do. We just got good old cookies that we sell, and we like to have fun with it.
See if I can.
Oh yeah, it's freaking genius. It's absolutely genius to make money. That's a riot. Good for that guy and good for the bakery. That's great. All right, the great Bitcoin supply shock. Let's move on to the videos. Are you ready for what's coming? I sure am.
Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy announced a historic $42 billion capital plan to, you guessed it, buy even more Bitcoin. Meanwhile, the Bitcoin ETFs have officially surpassed 1 million Bitcoin held on behalf of customers as they continue to gobble up tens of thousands of Bitcoin per day. But there's only one problem. Only 492,000 Bitcoin will be mined over the next 3 years. So where will all of this supply come from? It seems that Bitcoin's exponential price pressure is about to burst. Welcome to Pure Bitcoin Signal. I'm Hurley, Director of Content with Swan. Now let's get right into it. Michael Saylor and his company MicroStrategy made a historic announcement this week, a $42 billion capital plan, which they are dubbing the 21 plus 21 plan, because they plan to raise $21 billion in fixed income securities and a $21 billion at-the-money equity offering, which is the largest equity offering in the history of capital markets. Perfect. This has been dubbed the public equity play on Bitcoin maximalism, and I'm here for it.
Another name in the space to watch is MicroStrategy, surging in the month, up around 45% in October. The company also announcing it plans to raise $42 billion over the next 3 years to buy even more Bitcoin. That is basically the public equity play on Bitcoin maximalism, and has been for a while.
Equity capital markets alive and well.
For sure.
This historic plan would mean sustained daily Bitcoin buying pressure of $40 million per day for 3 years, which at today's prices is about 570 Bitcoin per day. You add that to the thousands of Bitcoin being purchased by ETF issuers daily, and you realize that one hell of a supply shock is brewing. You see, because of Bitcoin's diminishing supply schedule and increasing scarcity, only 492,000 Bitcoin will be mined over the next 3 years. So where will all this Bitcoin come from, you might ask? Well, the only thing that will release more Bitcoin onto the market is if the price rises significantly from here, encouraging holders to part with their precious sats. So this unprecedented buying pressure is building, and it's just a matter of time before it explodes parabolically higher. And along with Bitcoin, MicroStrategy just keeps winning. The real flippening just occurred the other day as MSTR officially flipped the market cap of Coinbase, the largest crypto exchange, or some may dub casino.
Oh shit, I didn't know that. That's crazy. That's huge. For them, that's fucking insane.
In the world. This paints a stark image of the difference between a company built on the rock-solid foundation of Bitcoin versus a company built on the weak, crumbling foundation of crypto. Another example of this winning strategy is Japan's Metaplanet, which, although is much smaller in market cap than MicroStrategy, they are implementing their own Bitcoin strategy, and Metaplanet is now the best-performing stock in Japan. This is sending a clear message to public companies of all sizes all over the world. Adopt a Bitcoin standard and win, which is exactly why Microsoft is holding a shareholders vote this month on whether or not to adopt their own Bitcoin strategy. Meanwhile,
that would be huge if Microsoft starts investing into Bitcoin. That's crazy.
Bitcoin ETF issuers officially hold over 1 million Bitcoin on behalf of customers. It took only 9 months of the Bitcoin ETFs being traded on the market for them to buy nearly 5% of the total Bitcoin supply that will ever exist. Just let that sink in. Bitwise CIO Matt Hogan was on Yahoo Finance today talking about why this is the single best time to invest in Bitcoin from a risk-adjusted standpoint.
What then do you think is the number one catalyst for Bitcoin as you look ahead to some of your 2025 projections?
Look, I think this is the best single time to invest in Bitcoin from a risk-adjusted perspective. All of the major existential risks of Bitcoin have been washed away. We have an ETF. We have institutions. They are coming into the space. The biggest catalyst is that move of institutional adoption. We're seeing that accelerate. We saw $800 million in ETF flows yesterday alone. This is a tidal wave of institutional assets moving into the space. There's a fixed supply, and from my perspective, that means higher prices.
You're saying it doesn't matter ultimately in the long run who is elected come next week. I'm curious then, because there's been so much talk about why Trump is better for Bitcoin or for the crypto community than Harris. It seems like, at least in the short term, maybe that is the case. But why are you confident, or I guess why aren't you as concerned about the pullback that we could see if Harris is elected?
Look, I think we could see a short-term pullback, but in that case, I think it would be a major buying opportunity. That's right, specifically for Bitcoin. For those altcoins, I think there's more regulatory uncertainty.
As Hogan says, a tidal wave of institutional capital is on its way into Bitcoin. And this is on top of MicroStrategy's $42 billion and the thousands of Bitcoin being purchased by the ETFs already. Howard Lutnick, CEO of Cantor Fitzgerald, which is set to become the first bank to custody Bitcoin, was recently on Palm's podcast talking about his Bitcoin conviction and how much of his wealth is currently in Bitcoin.
I have hundreds of millions of dollars. Okay, hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars.
Well, eat shit, bro. All right, we don't. Actually, this podcast was very good. If you guys didn't hear it, Anthony Pompliano's channel. This is like a 2-hour podcast. You have nothing to listen to. It was a good listen.
Exposure to Bitcoin. And it will be billions.
I was going to say, so next year when you come back and we'll do this again and you'll be a Bitcoin billionaire and
yeah, but you remember that model I told you? So if every time Bitcoin dips, I'm going to be the buyer.
Right? Trust me, I know why you're doing the lending. Listen, you don't have to explain that one around here.
So I got the 50% Bitcoin, I got the Bitcoin lending, but basically what you're going to see is Cantor Fitzgerald is going to be the sponsor of Bitcoin into traditional finance. And so we will be the leader of it. And I'll pull out this podcast in years to come and say, see, I told you, because no one's going to remember.
Of course.
Right? But all the banks, after we do it and show people how to do it right, they'll all copy. And so the asset of Bitcoin will just, as it becomes more accepted, it will become more valuable. And the whole Bitcoin nation should just call it a commodity, never a currency. Just call it a commodity. Because if it's a currency, you're attacking the politicians of the country, right? You're trying to replace my currency with yours. But if you say, hey, I'm just oil, I'm just gold, I'm just a commodity, leave me be.
That's a good point.
Right? Then they'll leave you be. And that is true. And it will be why Bitcoin, which is rare and is special, will become ever more rare, as we both know. ever more valuable over time. It'll be financed just like gold is, right? Gold is, it's not like super financeable, but it's financeable. Oil, it's not super financeable, but it's financeable, right? Bitcoin will be financeable. Bitcoin will be way, way, way higher, sometimes lower. You just have to have faith.
So Lutnick is exactly the type of institutional player that is currently buying Bitcoin during every price dip. And this type of accumulator will only increase as the scarcity and price increases. It's like a feedback loop that never ends. In the words of Michael Saylor, it's going up forever, Laura. Another metric that seems to be going up forever is the Bitcoin hash rate, which hit another all-time high today, reaching a whopping 736 exahash. For those that don't know, the hash rate is the amount of computing power securing the Bitcoin network globally. And Bitcoin is far and away the largest and most secure network on the planet. There is no runner-up. And nations all over the world are most definitely involved in mining Bitcoin. Like Argentina, for example. The Central Bank of Argentina opened an art exhibit yesterday that includes Bitcoin mining equipment.
They got Veta frames and GPUs. Oh, that's great. That's hysterical.
And actively mining Bitcoin. Which begs the question, how many other central banks or nation states are mining Bitcoin, but in secret? I really feel like the institutional adoption is out in the open, but nation state adoption is the undercurrent. As David Bailey lays out in this crazy bullish post on X, where he says, there is an undercurrent of Bitcoin nation state adoption happening behind the scenes. At this point, it seems like most developing nations have funded a domestic mining program as a test. Early movers are transitioning from 100+ megawatt pilots to gigawatt scale projects. Next, we'll be establishing a national Bitcoin reserve, either through a strategic stockpile via the central bank or via sovereign wealth funds. The Overton window has shifted so dramatically on this topic. I think we're just months away from a nation state, or a few, entering the market in size. Billions of dollars every month. So all of this means that no one is prepared for where Bitcoin goes over the next few years. But you can prepare by buying Bitcoin through services like Swan. Visit swan.com.
Oh, God. Yeah, it's going to show that. All right, moving on. Last but not least, Altcoin Daily. Crypto holders could determine the U.S. election. This was 2 days ago. I haven't seen it, though, so I want to check it out. Let's do it.
So is there a presidential candidate who is considered to be better for the crypto world?
In 10 seconds, I'll play you the rest of this clip. I was amazed watching this. Crypto holders could determine the U.S. election, which is now days away. And this is not according to opinion. This is according to research and data. CBS is covering this. This is a mainstream report. Now, who are the crypto voters actually voting for? You may be surprised by the conclusions they draw at the end. Watch.
And there is a new group of voters this election cycle that could make a big difference. Can you guess who it is? Especially in battleground states. We are talking about crypto investors. 1 in 5 Americans owns cryptocurrency. And for the first time, those people could sway who becomes president. How and why? Well, Money Watch correspondent Kelly O'Grady is here to tell us. Good morning, Kelly.
Good morning to you both. You know, I find this fascinating because for the first time ever, these crypto investors, they could really move the needle in a presidential election. And a key reason is that crypto has become increasingly more mainstream. How a candidate plans to approach the space could really impact their vote. So I want to put some numbers behind it because I'm always a business nerd, right? So on the anywhere between 7 and 21% of Americans have invested in crypto. So on the low end, that's 18 million people. On the high end, that's 50 million people, right? So anyway you slice it, that's a lot. Of those, close to 75% said they're going to consider a presidential candidate's stance when voting. So look, this could really play a big role in battleground states. For example, the Stand with Crypto PAC is sending up what they're calling crypto advocates. In Arizona and Georgia, they already have more than 30,000 advocates. That's way more than the number of votes that Biden won in those states by. And because of those potential voters, right, the crypto money is flooding in like we have never seen before. The pro-crypto PAC Fairshake, it's raised over $200 million this cycle. That's one of the top PACs in terms of funds raised. So look, the takeaway here is if crypto owners are single-issue voters, they could actually play a role in picking the next president.
Wow. I don't understand crypto at all. I at one point owned some crypto stock, and I couldn't tell why it was going up or down, and it made me feel all kinds of...
He obviously doesn't know. He just said crypto stock.
Yeah. Like, I can't do this anymore, so I'm out. Very interesting, though. Oh, no, we want to tuck in one more question. So is there a presidential candidate who is considered to be better for the crypto world?
So look, I think it's a mix. Okay, so former President Trump has kind of styled himself as the pro-crypto candidate. He has put forth a number of policies, adding Bitcoin as a strategic reserve, which like we hold gold, for example. He's also really focused on light touch regulation. I will highlight, like a couple years ago, he was saying crypto's a scam. So this has been a 180. The people that I'm talking to in the industry are saying, look, I don't know.
Yeah, but everybody said that too. Everybody. That wasn't just him. It wasn't just like Larry Fink said it. Now they have an ETF and they're like, and got more Bitcoin than everybody. Just in general, everybody said that. So
he's really going to go through with this. VP Harris has not taken an official stance. She has met with industry leaders, but the Biden-Harris administration has been perceived as very anti-crypto by the industry. So I think a lot of the people that I'm talking to are saying, like, look, she hasn't come out and said anything to distance herself from that. So we're not really sure what the administration would look like. I'll leave you with this, though. Bitcoin, with President Trump's chances, it trends up. It's kind of like a meme stock. So that's something to keep your eye on.
Did she just call Bitcoin a meme? Yeah, this bitch canceled.
Everybody you know has gotten rich off of crypto except for me.
One day, Tony. No one I know so far, Tony, but people are out there. People are really doing this, so it's a fair issue to talk about. Thank you so much, Kelly.
Let me give you my thoughts on this. You give me 1 minute. We are now days away from the biggest election of our lifetime. And in my opinion, the choice is clear who would be best for crypto. It's amazing that Donald Trump tweeted this. I love this. Now, I do try to keep things politically neutral on this channel. I think a lot of you who subscribe for our daily crypto updates appreciate that. So, I'm going to be real with you. Donald Trump would be better for the crypto industry in the US if he does what he says he will do. I do disagree with Trump on this. Kamala isn't waging war on crypto. She has no plans to do that if she becomes president. She is not Gary Gensler. She is not Elizabeth Warren. But let's keep things real. Joe Biden was not friendly to the crypto industry. Kamala Harris has issued statements saying that she will do things differently than Joe Biden.
I will recommit the nation to global leadership in the sectors that will define the next century. We will invest in biomanufacturing and aerospace, remain dominant in AI and quantum computing, blockchain and other emerging technologies.
She seems like she doesn't want to hinder the industry, right? That makes sense. She's younger. I do believe that she knows that the US needs a certain level of support for crypto at this point, for jobs, for growth, for wealth. But the fact remains, Donald Trump, for the issue of crypto specifically, would be better. I just hope that he's able to follow through with all of his promises. But even if he only accomplishes some, it seems
all of his promises. Fire Gary Gensler. I don't know. Like, you can't just fire him, so that's obviously not going to happen day one. But national Bitcoin stockpile, that would be sick. But I don't know. Make U.S. crypto capital of the world. I hope so. That'd be nice. Boost the U.S. Bitcoin mining. That would be sick too. Regulatory changes, fair and clear. Yeah, we definitely need that. Crypto Advisory Council, 100 days. That'd be smart to do. Right, self-custody. Yeah, no CBDC. So yeah, he's right. Like half of these probably. I mean, obviously the Gary thing, whatever, is what it is.
Still, he would be better. But not everybody's a single issue voter, right? What do you think? Yeah. Who do you think would be better? Seriously, all things considered. And by the way, if you want to know why politicians are all of a sudden changing their mind on crypto, it is because of 3 big reasons.
Yes, Dan R. I voted against Warren, for sure.
Political donations.
This is the first year I've ever voted, by the way. I've never seen a ballot before this year, and I can't believe there was this some LSD thing on there? Make fucking tripping balls legal.
Being and greater education. All 3 of these things are tied together in a way. This is the Marathon Digital CEO, Fred Thiel. This is the kind of information Washington and politicians have been hearing about Bitcoin and crypto for the last 12 months. Listen.
There are only 21 million Bitcoin. There never will be more Bitcoin. When people want to acquire something, it has to go up in price. Just like when an artist dies, right? People pay $3 million for some spray paint on bricks in a place in London because Banksy says he did it. Right? So don't give me a story about there's no value to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is valuable because people believe it's valuable. That's the only reason the dollar has value. It's because everybody in this room thinks the dollar has value. Bitcoin as an asset class is the perfect asset. It's hard money. And that's something I believe you'll see. Countries hold Bitcoin. You'll see more and more companies like Mara, like MicroStrategy, like lots of other companies hold Bitcoin. You'll see.
What is this potato they're recording with?
Financial institutions hold Bitcoin, and as soon as the banks in the U.S. are able to custody and collateralize Bitcoin, the price of Bitcoin will explode.
Well said. I'll tell you, politicians, the mainstream media, so many people have come such a long way on crypto compared to how it used to be. Who has been subscribed to us for a while and remembers that it didn't always used to be this way? I still laugh at Jim Cramer in this clip.
I think that everybody who owns these various coins, Solana, Litecoin, I do think you're an idiot. Okay?
Solana's at $160 right now.
Did not go to college to get stupid. These people who own these things should not own them.
Hey, but
how is that guy still on the TV? How is he still on the TV?
Fine. Yes, Bitcoin is past the point of no return. Yes, things are changing, but there is still massive upside to go, in my opinion. I mean, look at this. There are still stock market maxis out there. Watch this podcast host get visibly upset at Michael Saylor describing why Bitcoin will beat all stocks.
Bitcoin's doubling the Magnificent Seven. So in terms of, is Bitcoin the answer? Yeah, sure. If you want to beat the S&P index, you need something better than a typical good company. A well-run company will at best keep up with monetary inflation. You need a monstrous digital monopoly like the Magnificent Seven to outdo it. But the greatest digital monopoly in the world, Trish, is the digital monopoly of money. I mean, the greatest digital network in the world is Bitcoin. Bitcoin is Facebook for money, right? It's Google for money. If all the smart, rich people in the world decide that they want to store their money in a bank in cyberspace that will never be debased and hold it for the next 100 years, right? Isn't that the best investment by definition? Because every other company has some kind of crack in its armor, some kind of attack surface. All the other companies get taxed. They have employees, they have headquarters, they get hit with tariffs and fines and et cetera. So find me a big tech monopoly that is global, that sells a product that everybody wants. Nobody can stop.
It's you.
And
It's
nobody
MSTR.
understands. No, it's Bitcoin, Trish.
Well, Bitcoin.
So the election is coming up. You tell me who you're voting for.
Just like it's you. He's like, no, it's Bitcoin.
If you're voting for Trump, tell me, do you think he will keep his promises to the crypto community? If you're voting for Kamala,
Hope so.
tell me, do you think she will be fair and better than the Biden administration? If you're interested in making money.
No, absolutely not. Anyways. All right. I'm done with this. Recap segment of things. You guys know daddy duty. Gotta get these kids at school. All right, we got Bitcoin $69,200 just about. Ethereum at $24.82. Perfect. Solana is at $164. XRP 51 cents. Let's see, Caspa still under 11 cents over here at 10.7, 10.79, just about 10.8. We got Dogecoin to 15 cents. If Donald Trump gets elected and they make the DOGE, the what the hell is it, Department of Government Efficiency with Elon Musk, Doge is gonna explode. That's just my opinion. I honestly think it's going to. I don't know. It's we're gonna have to see what happens, but it's gonna be epic. Near Protocol over here, $3.70. Nothing else really jumping out at me. Nothing's really doing too crazy today. What is this cult over here? Down 25%. I don't know what that is. No idea. But yeah, that's that. All right, let's go. Biggest earner of the day. Wow, things changed pretty much. Looks like Dogecoin's biggest earner of the day, 6.9%. Nice. We got Giga over here. This is the Giga Chad. What the fuck is this? Ranked 99th. Just broke into the top 100 at a $640 million market cap. You guys buy dumb shit. I'm just saying. 6 cents. Hey, if you can make money, whatever. Almost 7 cents. Interesting. Very interesting. Biggest loser of the day now is Ape over here, 5.9% down on the day, 92 cents. Got Rune down 3.5 at $5. Flashbang Fear and Greed Index looking like a 70 over here. Again, it's under 75. This is a good thing. This is a very good thing for the election day tomorrow. So make sure you guys get out and vote. Go do your thing. Cult is DeFi. Oh, okay. Gotcha. I've never heard of it. Interesting. Yeah, this under 75 is where I like to see this needle. As long as it's between that and like 25, it's usually fine. It's neutral to me. Once it gets over to the extreme greed after 75, it's kind of like a, you know, faster we go up, faster we fall type deal. But anyways, guys, listen, I gotta get out of here. I appreciate y'all for hanging out with me on this episode of the Daily Grind. I will see you guys bright and early tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's gonna be interesting to see what the news is like tomorrow. Till then, have a good day and peace out. I'll catch you guys later.
Eat shit, Gary.